A U.S. missile-armed MQ-9 Reaper drone was seen erupting in a giant fireball after being struck in the skies over Yemen. Iran-linked Houthis are now being blamed for taking down yet another U.S. MQ-9 Reaper, adding to a growing list of American drones lost over the region. Dramatic videos from the crash site appear to show debris from the U.S. drone mixed with what analysts say are parts of a Ninja variant missile. Despite being equipped with Hellfire-class precision weapons, did the U.S. drone fail to evade Houthi air defense fire? Houthi forces reportedly shot down a U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone over Yemen's Marib region, with local sources saying the incident took place near the safer area in Marib Governorate. The drone was said to have been engaged on May 18, close to energy facilities in the safer area, a key part of the Marib region where previous clashes and air operations have been reported. Residents in Marib city told local media that they heard loud explosions in the sky during the time of the alleged shootdown, indicating an aerial engagement above or near the urban area. According to those reports, an air defense missile was launched from the Sarwah area west of Marib, suggesting that Houthi units positioned there were responsible for targeting the drone. Witness accounts and local coverage mentioned that 2 mid-air explosions were heard shortly after the missile launch, consistent with either interception or detonation of the weapon and the drone. Videos circulating on social media appear to show wreckage identified as belonging to a U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone, with debris filmed on the ground and shared by local activists and outlets. The remains of the aircraft were reportedly found scattered across a desert area east of Wadi district, indicating the drone came down away from densely populated zones. The wreckage allegedly included parts of AGM-114 R9X Ninja missiles, according to the outlet Defense Line, which said fragments resembling the specialized missile components were visible. The Ninja is a modified variant of the Hellfire air-to-ground missile, designed for precision strikes using kinetic blades instead of a large explosive warhead to limit collateral damage. The MQ-9 Reaper is a U.S. remotely piloted aircraft used primarily for intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions, as well as for carrying out targeted counter-terrorism strikes. At the time of these reports, neither the U.S. military nor Houthi spokesman Yahya Saree had issued an official statement confirming or denying the claimed shoot-down of the MQ-9. The report surfaced amid broader claims that Houthi forces have been integrating Iranian-supplied or Iranian-designed components into their drones and missiles, reflecting ongoing military cooperation with Tehran. According to conflict armament research, external support remains central to Houthi strike capability, with imported parts and designs underpinning many of their most sophisticated systems. The group has tracked Houthi weapons and improvised explosive devices across Yemen and the wider Gulf since 2016, building a detailed map of how the arsenal has evolved. Notably, the Houthis have been under a UN arms embargo since 2015, yet they continue to field new weapons, indicating that sanctions have not fully choked off supply routes. The report says the group has continued to assemble advanced missiles and drones from imported kits and components, maintaining a long-range threat despite naval patrols and interdictions. Investigators from CAR found seized missiles labeled with Iranian designations such as 358, instead of local Houthi names, suggesting designs and naming conventions are still set in Tehran. Researchers argue this pattern shows continued reliance on external supply and underscores the limits of Houthi industrial capacity to design and brand their own complex systems. At the same time, many of these missiles reportedly arrive as kits, meaning Houthi technicians must still assemble the weapons themselves before they can be fired from Yemeni territory. That assembly work points to growing local technical skills and experience, even if the original designs, blueprints, and key components continue to come from abroad. In June 2025, CAR examined components from a seized shipment known as the Al-Shirwa case, which offered a rare inside look at what was actually being sent toward Yemen. Analysts documented parts linked to at least a dozen weapon systems and around 10 different missile types, revealing the breadth of platforms being supported. The haul reportedly included anti-ship, surface-to-air and ballistic missile components, all believed to be bound for Houthi forces to expand their threat against shipping and air assets. Some components matched Iranian-origin missile models not previously seen in Houthi hands, indicating an upgrade path that could bring new range or guidance capabilities to the group. The same investigations uncovered advanced drones and even underwater weapon components among the seized items, hinting at ambitions that go beyond simple short-range rockets. Component codes were neatly labeled to show which missile system each piece belonged to, suggesting a structured supply system designed to ease assembly in the field. The labels used Iranian naming conventions and standardized patterns, likely doubling as de facto assembly instructions for Houthi teams working far from Iranian factories. Many of the electronic parts examined were manufactured in just the last 2 years, showing that the supply lines feeding these proxies remain active and modern, not drawn from old stockpiles. CAR reported that components in the seized weapons carried markings from companies based in at least 16 different countries, underscoring how globalized these supply chains have become. Those countries reportedly included the US, UK, China, Russia, Germany, and South Korea, among others, reflecting a mix of Western, Asian, and Eurasian producers. Investigators warned that many of these parts may be counterfeit or diverted, complicating efforts to trace them cleanly back to original manufacturers and export licenses. CAR continues trying to map the true origins of the components and the maritime and land routes that carried them toward Yemen despite patrols and embargoes. The group estimates that only about 5% of the seized missile and UAV components were clearly Iranian-made, at least based on visible markings and documentation. Investigators argue this pattern shows that Iran itself depends heavily on foreign technology inputs to sustain its missile programs and, by extension, the proxies that rely on them.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.